Basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skitty, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
G'day everyone and welcome to the Insight NBA show. I'm your host at NBA Wiz, and your other host is the Lord of the Sleeless. He is your man at live_my_fantasy. Matty Malley, how are you, man?
Doing better than Luka Doncic. How are you?
Yeah, look, I haven't heard your thoughts about this. We were all like more in a state of belief. I jumped on with Skitty and Kingy, did the emergency pod. You don't like this for Luka? You love this for Luka? I mean, he's out here dropping like LA gang signs with the Rob Pelinka, like doing the.
Yeah.
You're not liking it?
Like it just was it's just a bit of a shock. I just thought that Dallas just threw it away. Like I
100%.
I just thought it was an absolute stinker from then. And then I went and talked to my boss, who I know he's been a big Lakers fan for forever and a day. And he was like, "Oh, mate, we've absolutely like this. This is a cracking deal for us. Like, for Dallas, he thought it was a cracking deal for Dallas. My apologies. Otherwise, he would have been on the same page as me. He just was like, yeah, no, it's a great deal for them, and like was a bit iffy about it for him. Obviously, he wasn't thinking about it in a fantasy basketball lens, but just as a lover of the game and a lover of the Lakers, he was like, I think Dallas did better out of the deal. He was just talking about the Kyrie pairing, how he thought that was going to go really well with AD.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean, and it just made me pause for thought, and I thought, you know what, like it probably is more even than I think. But no, I definitely think anyone who's landing, I mean, it's kind of like fantasy basketball. If you're landing Luke, you're doing pretty well, even though AD probably sits ahead of him at the moment in fantasy basketball. So in fantasy basketball, it wouldn't be an outrageous trade.
No, it's like two top 15 guys together on the same team. It's just outstanding for them, and you do love it. And I think AD is unequivocally the best center that Kyrie's ever played with now as well. So that's going to open up a whole bunch of stuff. I know the trades left, right, and center have come to try and get Kyrie and stuff like this. This is like the must-adds and stream zone. People are really trying to throw out great offers for Kyrie because he's going to get a massive bump. People are not sure how to feel. It's probably a buy lowish time on guys like LeBron or Luka because you're not sure how it's all going to coalesce and work together. But a couple of Lakers make it your list this week, which I was absolutely impressed by. This is the must-adds and stream show. We're going to break it down for your schedule. Look, let's just start with your guys for a start and flip between it as well, I reckon, Malley, because you mentioned a couple of Lakers here. I've got some Lakers on mine, so let's circle around to it. You've got a couple of Lakers on your watch this. Let's go with you. That's your streams. Here's your watch this space, guys. Take us through your watch this space, fellas.
I don't think that Jackson Hayes, what he's going to be able to do in Lakerland is only going to last as long as until they find someone better to fill the position. But for now, he's obviously going to be great value. Put up a double-double the other day and got a couple of rebounds. And then the last game, he was a bit flat, dealt with a bit of foul trouble, but he got those stocks that you're probably pulling him in for. Obviously, he's never going to be a big scorer, but his percentages are relatively decent. He's not a terrible free throw guy, and his field goal percentages are nice and strong. I mean, you look down the list there. I just keep thinking back to what Vanderbilt did about this time last year, where he just went nuts. And, we've seen him come back in limited minutes and put up 3-4 steal games, and that's really what he does. I think he neglected to get one in the last game, but from memory got about 7 rebounds, which is probably not too bad. If you can't get the 3 steals, you might as well take the rebounds. But he's kind of an elite steals guy, and you don't get a lot of elite steals guys off the waiver, especially in a power forward's body. Kamara's probably snatched up now in a lot of leagues because he's getting 34, 35 minutes every night. It's going to be a mess for the Lakers, especially until Luka heals and is able to come and play, which, I mean, could be as soon as the next game for them. Who knows? Dorian Finney-Smith, I mean, he's realistically, outside of Hayes, the closest thing they have to a center. So we know he's played center minutes before when he was playing in Brooklyn, as early as Brooklyn. So he's another guy I just keep my eye on. We know he's an elite 3-point guy. I don't know if he does as much of that. He probably won't get as many shooting opportunities if he's playing as the center. But yeah, it'd just be really interesting to see what goes down there. So they're 3 guys I'd pick up. We get any more news in because it doesn't feel like the Lakers are done. You can turf those guys, and it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think we can see there as well that what we're looking at is we're looking at a team that's shifting and moving. As you can see, Dorian Finney-Smith isn't really cracking Yahoo's top 200, but it's kind of like what he does on the court for the Lakers. It's really going to open them up. He has been a pairing with Luka before as well, so we'd love to see them reunited in this sense. So it kind of makes sense that you'll see him pop in around like this. And as you can see, Malley, this is a guy here that you kind of just want to bring into your list really quickly, see where it goes, and you're bringing them out, as you said, because there's also another teammate of his that's been around there. It's Christian Wood. Christian Wood has been paired up with Luka before. So you've got almost like a mini Mavericks, which reminds me of Pelinka a couple of years ago trying to pull off a mini Washington Wizards team going on when they held high. It's just like, is he using the same playbook? Is Pelinka in like 30 years' time still going to be managing this team? Be like, well, I've made mini teams of everybody.
Yeah. And I mean, like if you look at how the Lakers stand at the moment, their defense has gone from pretty poor to pretty woeful. And maybe that gives someone like Vanderbilt some more time on the court. Maybe they just need his defense. There's no one else really on there that can do that. Same with Dorian Finney-Smith. He's not a bad defender. So I think if they're obviously not going to need scoring, they've now got Luka and they've got LeBron James. They don't really need passing because they've got two pseudo point guards. So maybe Vanderbilt, if he can keep his legs underneath him, maybe get some more minutes on the court.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The one thing that I really loved about this one is the guy who headlines your list and looks like the guy who your teenage daughter is about to go on her first date with. It's Mattis Buzelis, also known as the Booze Bus. Doesn't he look like a girl? Like, you're like, what are you doing, mate? Is this like the guy who tried to dial your phone that day and you're like, sorry, it was a call from my daughter? Was it Mattis?
Yeah, it was definitely Buzelis. You can tell. Look at his shady little mushroom haircut, which is probably all the rage. Says this guy over here who has no idea what's going on. I'm still rocking a mustache like it's the 1970s. So don't listen to anything I have to say about fashion. But yeah, look, the writing's been on the wall a little bit with him. He's played decent minutes the last 2 or 3 games now, after just doing absolutely nothing. So now with Levine gone, I mean, that opens up a little bit more space for him. Who did they get back? They got back nothingness over in Chicago, didn't they?
I'll break
Jones.
I'll break down. Oh, they got Trey Jones and it's off the top of my head now. I think they didn't get Jordan McLaughlin. I was like, wait a second, McLaughlin's back and he's relevant again? No, he's not.
They got Collins, so another center, which gives you pause that maybe. I mean, he's a bit of a throwaway piece. I don't think they pulled Collins to get much floor time. It was a little bit. Did give me.
Oh, Zachy, yeah, no, Zach Collins. Oh, I actually was more curious by Trey Jones going there. But again, they just seem to be incredibly loaded up on the guard spot right now with Lonzo, DeSumo, Kobe White. It's just poor Trey Jones. I know you're a Spurs fan.
Yeah, Giddy.
Giddy. Like, your heart breaks for this guy. Trey Jones is like, can I ever get to do my job, please?
Yeah,
it'd be really nice.
It's been a very rough year for the Jones brothers. It's just not really gone good. It's going to be a sad Christmas. They'll be eating turkey out of a can this year, I think, over at the Jones household. But yeah, we don't shed too many tears for them. But yeah, I think Mattis, as a guy who can get a couple of blocks, he obviously knows how to score 12 points a game because he's been able to do that 3 games in a row. That's his favorite amount of threes. So yeah, deeper leagues, why not? Like that one there, 12, 7 rebounds, 3 steals and a block, is it? That's really tasty. That's not a bad.
But it's also
only 26 minutes too.
I love the percentages, though. I mean, he loves to take 2 free throws a game. So he only likes to get to the line once or an and one play, and he can split a pair, but he's going to 100% of the line. What we really like about him is this upswing in percentages. He's gone from the 167s. Obviously, 100% is not sustainable. But it's these last few games where he's cracking plus 500%, which makes it really, really tasty because it doesn't hurt you anywhere. He might not be getting you steals. He might not be getting you assists. But if you want to chip in the rebounds, some points, and on excellent percentages, which can buoy you in a league against your opponent, especially when we're coming into playoff time, Buzelis is ringing the good bells for you, mate.
No, I'd definitely take a gamble. And the three guys that came in today, whether they stay, whether they don't, it doesn't feel like any of the teams, maybe besides, actually, no, that's not even true. I was going to say maybe besides my boys over in San Antonio are the only ones in that trade to feel like they're done. But that's not necessarily true. I feel like with the season that Chris Paul's been having, that going back and doing what he did in Golden State, where he's playing, barely 20 minutes, it doesn't feel like the close of the curtains for him. But yeah, I don't know. I just say the three guys who came in, if this team stays as it is, he's going to be Muddus is higher on the pecking order than those three guys. So why not? You've seen what he could do in the last three games, got a little taste for it. Even if he just continues to get 26 minutes, I think that's pretty decent in 14, 16 leagues.
Now, this is a guy that we both had on our show last time as well. This is, I call it Malley's stream team. This guy, Moussa Diabate, is one that I want to bring up straight away on the list because you and I were on the same page. I couldn't make it to record with you that night. And I was like, I don't know if you listened back to that, but I was like, mate, I've already got him. I'd already picked him up in a team for a stream that week. And then it was looking a little bit shaky whether he was going to play the back-to-back set last week with Mark Williams being out, and there he was getting the run over the course of the week. And you can see his last games here. Excellent amount of rebounds. He's been doing great. 21 minutes and 32 minutes. And that was also with Mark Williams coming back into the lineup. And as you can see here, he's rollicked around in the rankings just to getting the free throws will hurt you. But again, the field goal percentage, the points and the rebounds is what you're bringing him in for. The steals have been nice as well, mate.
Yeah, obviously with Nick Richards gone, he's definitely taken the backup center role there. We saw what he did when he had to play starting center, both Nick and what's your mate's name?
Mark Williams.
Marky. And Mark Williams is obviously having to have rests on the back-to-back, and that just gives Moose a more value as well. So, yeah, he's definitely a guy that I saw snatched up really across all of my leagues from 12 to 20. People just went, yeah, he's our guy. Like the reliability and the comfort of Moussa Diabate.
It really is. And a guy who used to fly the flag in the Charlotte Hornets but went over to the Miami Heat last year was another guy who's made your list here, Scary Terry Rozier. I invested a draft pick in him in some leagues, and like many people, let's just go in the history here. He was gone 102nd, and he was 4th. So this guy's held on to him all year. This is one of the only leagues that I know of that he has been, yikes, because he was atrocious. Look, the game log, we're going to have to trawl all the way back here, but you look in December and he was pretty much of a 0. And then he's turned it around and he's put on this nice little run. And especially over these last 4 games here, actually, you could probably say over 6 of the last 8, he's been decent again, which is kind of what you expect from Scary Terry Malley.
Yeah, and, he's probably can't throw as many games now that the federal police are looking at him. So he probably has to get back to playing some consistent minutes. Obviously, it's an absolute shambles shit show over in Miami at the moment with Grumpy Butler over there. So, he's kind of taking advantage of the opportunities. He might be one of the bigger losers because they're always ready to cut Terry over there in Miami. So it'll just take one fresh face to come in and that'll be the end of Terry. But for now, he's playing all right. He's putting up some decent games. And, I think he's still available. I think he was available in one of my deep leagues, like 16 or 20 or something like that. He's just sitting there. So I'll probably go and pick him up and get at least, hopefully, a decent week out of him. And if I get nothing more, well, no harm, no foul.
And as you can see, he is only 62% rostered in Yahoo leagues. And we usually use the cutoff at 70%-ish. Is like we don't try and say go and get them because they're likely or gone in 10 or especially 20 teams, no chance, 16 teams. But when it gets to the 62%, he's available in some 10s. You probably don't want to touch that. But there's definitely 12-team leagues available. If he's available in a deep league where you're running 200 players deep, you go out and grab a guy like this. Another guy on this list who has been one of your perennial must-add guys now for a little bit, he is only 12% rostered, is Keon Johnson in the Brooklyn Nets. He's having a bit of a field day around lately with all these shenanigans going on with Brooklyn, mate.
He's fighting the hard fight over there, and people have these big games. then they go back and play no minutes. And, it's a bit up and down and all over the place. But Keon Johnson seems to be one of their regular feasters, and he's been scoring all right. He doesn't do a lot else, but he'll do a little bit of everything. There was a game not long ago, actually. I think he basically got a triple-double out of nowhere. It was like 27 and 9 or something. And I was like, all right, well, I guess he can do that. But, he just gets minutes and he plays. And I think that's definitely worth keeping an eye on in Brooklyn. Obviously, they're one of the teams. Not that it's very easy for us at present to make any predictions about what's going to happen in the trade fantasy world. We've had one that we didn't see coming at all. And then we had one that the writing was very much on the wall, where Fox was like, I want to go to San Antonio. So we've had the two extremes of one that I think any weekend warrior basketball fan could have been like, well, Zach LaVine's getting moved because he's finally had an absolute cracking year with no injuries, and he's wanted to move for yonks. And then you've got another guy who's like, I'm going to the Spurs. If anyone wants to follow me, come this way. And then you've had the other trade, which still doesn't make sense. Everyone's still like, what? Still probably, if it came out and they said that it was a prank, I'd still be like, yeah, well, you nearly had me.
Happy April Fool's Day. I was literally I was with my son, my mum, and my dad. We were in JD Sports picking up the boy a pair of like special edition Jordans. And I was on my phone, like about to pay. And I was like, and it was started popping up. And I'm like, what? No. And the guy's like, like, what, man? Oh, what's going on? You seem pretty shook. And I'm like, thank you. That was my best teenage shop guy impersonation. He's like, oh, you seem pretty shook. And I'm like, yeah, man. I am, man. Luka Doncic just got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. The guy's like, what, bro? No. I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, oh, who for? And I was like, Anthony Davis. He's like, nah, dude, no way. And I'm like, yes, way. And this 16-year-old dude acting like a born hooper is like, that blows my mind. I'm like, yeah, it blows mine. But this is what we can expect in sillies. It's absolutely bananas. But these guys, these are the guys who shift around, and these are more the peripheral guys that we've been speaking about. You've mentioned this one. I want to get back to this guy. I picked him up as well. You can even see when I did it because the Royals on the wall. Look, he's been up and down on teams for a bit of the season. He's been included from free agency. I picked him up on Sunday. Very happy to do so, especially with the hole that has been left by Julius Randle and his injuries. And look, the percentages have hurt me a little bit here. And you can see that you need this to pick up a little bit. But the threes are great. The defense is great. The all-round game and minimum turnovers are okay. Nickeil Alexander-Walker making your list as a guy you want to be picking up, Malley.
Yeah, well, basically with Dante DiVincenzo going down, with Mike Conley being old and just not being really in best form. And then Randall, so it's just, I mean, he's taking advantage of a really shite situation for everybody else that's just playing out really well for Nickeil. So 41 minutes, that's nothing to sneeze at. So they're obviously happy to play him, or at least if they're not happy to play him, they have to play him, one of the two. It doesn't matter to us. We see 41 minutes and we gobble that up. But yeah, as a baseline, 25-minute-a-night player, anything over that. He's another guy that's just pretty consistent, a bit like a Keon, that even though the minutes fluctuate a bit more than Keon Johnson's, you know what you're going to get. So when it gets to the end of the week and you're like, well, I need a sure thing. I need my 14 points. I need 2 threes. I need reasonable percentages. Who am I going to pick up? And Nickeil's there. He'd be the one I'd go with. You don't take a gamble on a Matas because you don't really know what's going to happen with someone like him. He's a bit chaotic, and obviously he's young.
And for me, he's a perfect candidate to a guy that I am absolutely going to package him in a trade with someone because he is tradable. He is a good trade asset, especially with Dante DiVincenzo out for a while. We don't have that groin injury update from Julius Randle. They want him fresh for the playoffs. They've got the downtime of the All-Star break coming. This is a guy that I like. This is a guy that I would willingly package in with someone who gives another team value for the short term. It's a nice and one player, but it's also going to complement your roster. So I was really happy that I swooped in on this one and picked him up when I did. And I think I might hold on to him, but he's also a guy that I'm willing to be like, I need to make a move. Let me use an asset that's positive and that's going to give someone a positive as well. So these are the guys that we bring in quickly into our teams for trades, and then we ship them on off. And we do have one of those weeks as well, Malley, we want to talk about really quickly. We do want to talk about the week that it is for fantasy basketball, because we've got a heavy day on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Heaviest days are Wednesday and Saturday with 11 games each. So when we talk about these as well, we are talking about the guys we want to bring into our team. I gave the advice out on the weekly preview pod. Go back and check out the full length of that one. Let's do this one. Let's work the wire, 3 games in 4 nights, because these are the teams that you can do it. Monday to Thursday, they're playing. They clear the slate for you, and it's really easy. You got the Nuggets, the Warriors, the Rockets, the Pacers, the T-Wolves, the Magic, the Trailblazers, and the Kings. If you want to get a little bit frisky, you can get a little bit deep from Tuesday to Friday with the Nets, the Cavs, the Heat, the 76ers, and the Raptors. I like probably the 76ers here. Gershon Yabusele is a must-add player. On the waiver wire, Ty Jerome for the Cavs. Again, always good. Nikola Jovic for the Miami Heat. For the Nets, we've got a couple guys that you've mentioned. Obviously, Keon Johnson is one of your ads there. Zaire Williams makes my list of dudes. And overall for the week, before we know what's going on, guys like Najee Marshall going to get minutes, especially with all the flux in Dallas. Dylan Brooks, mate, you are one of the biggest advocates of just bring him in, enjoy the ride. Rockets play 5 games. Have at it, Dylan. Have at it.
3 out of 5 decent games and 2 stinkers. That still works out pretty well in my books. And there's no risk of him not playing the back-to-backs. So, yeah, let it roll, I reckon. Especially, they're obviously a little bit damaged still. So, yeah, go for him.
And until they're traded, Jackson Hayes and Rui Hachimura, if you need to. Obviously, I don't think Hayes goes anywhere. Dalton Kinect as well for the Lakers. Max Christie is out of town. I reckon that opens up more minutes for Kinect there. Derek Jones Jr. and Amir Coffey, especially on the back of that Powell injury, if he is not good to go again. And mention Timoni Kamara and Donovan Clingan in Portland, especially with it being trade week. This is the guys that we want to just keep our eyes on, because Jeremy Grant could get out of town. Look, bloody hell, DeAndre Ayton could get out of town for all we know. Robert Williams III could go out of town. And if Robert Williams goes, if Ayton goes, it's just Clingan season all the way. And it's just a complete youth movement for the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting pretty close to having the best winning record in the NBA at the moment. I think they've won like 5 in a row or something like that. They can't lose.
Yeah, and they should
lineups that they're throwing out.
And they should be trying. They've won 3 in a row. So they're 20 and 29.
Damn,
they're 20 and 29. They're nowhere near the tank job unless they go off a rail really bloody quickly. These guys, like, they have to jump off the deep end. They're at 49 games played. In their next 30, they have got to make trade after trade to get rid of anyone who's decent. Advi is playing nice. Simons is playing nice. Sharp is up and down and all over the place. Welcome to the roller coaster. But when your bottom teams in the NBA are on 11, 12, 7, and 12 wins, respectively, the 4 bottom teams, and then your next batch is this, which is crazy. If they were playing in the Eastern Conference, they would be 1 game behind the Bulls of getting into the play-in tournament, the Portland Trailblazers. Crazy to think.
Yeah. Yeah, they might have to change their conferences to North and South or something like that, because it's pretty grim doing East versus West at the moment. But, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. You heard it here first. Me telling you something that's not going to happen isn't going to happen.
Thank you very much for that insight, Malley. We're going to come back. We have a second pod to drop. We have our trade stash show. We're going to go over about like 10, 15 or more blokes that we think could move at the deadline or could open up some fantasy value with you, including one team that I am going to give you that could completely roll out an entirely new lineup based on trade deadline week, and they've already got all the players already on their roster. We're going to tell you that in the trade deadline stash show. Make sure you check it out, like and subscribe to all the things. We'll see you soon.